What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we're jumping into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we are going to be going into maximum security, and this is another part of the Riftlord Deadeye playthrough that I wanted to put together so that I could get some more videos out about the hero, and ultimately just make sure that you guys have some visuals on how most of her stuff works. I think this is pretty much what I usually use for this map. I'm going to change Bear Hugs to Feeling Fierce though. Big Spender's okay. I use mostly physical and fire traps here though, so drop Big Spender, throw in Fire Sale. So fire and physical traps are cheaper, which is basically everything I have except for the Viscous Tar. That has a stamped part in it though, so I should be okay there. Deadeye really doesn't have a huge amount of mana usage issues. The attacks that she can use that take up a lot of her mana can't be used often, so it's pretty much okay. Jailer and Dragon are good here. Yeah, I think this setup should be good to go. Let's go ahead and get this started. Boop. Alright. Looks like that mostly loaded up.
Spoiling for a fight.
So yeah, so far I am. Those are the callouts.
This'll stop him.
I'm actually really liking the DPS overall that Deadeye's able to put out. It's a lot higher than I initially thought that they would allow it.
Real nice. Mighty fine day for a massacre.
I mean, it's not the reason that I'm enjoying the character specifically per se, but
This'll keep him guessing.
definitely helps. Alright, don't have enough for
Wait till they see this.
another ballista, but it works out. Gonna drop the Jailer here. Mouse sensitivity seems to be a bit high. Alright, that's okay. I got a multi-DPS mouse, so sometimes I have to check to make sure I didn't accidentally switch it to like a higher dot per inch setting, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to move slightly and I'm like, woo! So yeah. But alright, let's get this started. Mostly Deadeye's really good at dealing area damage. She's really good dealing with single targets too, just not often. She can deal a good amount of single target damage, but if you need to like burst down a single target, somebody like Max would be a better choice if you need to do it often, especially after the buffs he got recently. But as far as dealing with a large group of targets and doing it consistently, she seems to be extremely good at that. So after Infamy kicks in, the little explosions are good if you can keep the enemies grouped up. She's a character that will probably make great use of any sort of funnel that you can create if you manage to be able to build something that is about half a unit wide. She will probably be able to murder everything within that space relatively easily. And her brambles are extremely good at taking out kobolds. Now, one of the critiques that I have so far, and it's not super huge, but once they actually fix the hip shot buff so that it's not as high as it is normally, they're probably going to want to increase the they're going to want to increase the damage buff that Deadlier Eye gives to it. Right now, 50% of the proposed, 20% damage buff is 10%. 10% DPS buff that's up situationally, and only if you continue rolling, is nowhere near as good as a permanent 15% attack speed increase that stacks on top of the flat 20% that you already get, or already will get, from the hip shot buff. So I would recommend that that goes up to like 100%, and that meaning it adds an additional 20% of your base damage. That way, things should actually be like a considerable buff,
Dastardly, if I do say so myself.
and it'll be like negligibly larger. It won't be like, hey, you should always choose this choice,
Don't mind if I do.
but at the very least,
Right there.
it'll give you a reason that, whoop, there we go. Think about choosing it
They've broken through on another front.
over just getting the attack speed buff all the time. And the attack speed buff will still have its advantages.
They've broken through a gate.
Yep.
Wait till they see
Okay, so we're doing pretty good here so far. Don't think much of anything crazy is gonna come through. I say that right as I start to get mobbed by the image, but it looks like we're doing alright. Yeah, we're not gonna let those kobolds get anywhere important. We just slay hundreds of them at once. 11, hundreds, same thing. Alright. For the tier 2 upgrade, I still don't think going down in infamy is worth it. Just because it doesn't add anything new. It just allows you to get to infamy quicker. And at least for this situation in survival, infamy may not really be all that super useful, especially when I'm over leveled. At lower levels or in an area where you're dealing with a constant swarm of high HP enemies, infamy might be worth it. But even then, I think Razor Reed Rend may be better, and Spurred Boots offers you a way to sort of attempt to escape hunter units like Knoll Hunters and Pride Hunters, and even to some extent Knoll Grenadiers and Dwarven Grenadiers, and allows you to deal damage to them by getting out of the way at the same time. So, and this is just a personal preference, but I like those over... That bomb is great. I like those over going down in infamy. So I'm going to choose the Rend right now, even though I have not been spamming it nearly as much as I should. Looks like those are... okay. If I plan on hitting... par here, I will probably need to... Yep, that's a lot. Didn't even expect that to happen there. Alright, looks like you can actually get the cooldown for her E skill to cool down, so start until you actually get out of the stance. That'll be important to remember.
Mighty fine day for a massacre. This'll
They've
stop.
broken through a gate.
Yeah.
Oh, that was not where I wanted to put that.
We've defeated the enemy's boss minion.
All of these like stacked area damage abilities are really nice at dealing with small orcs. Medium ones too. Okay.
The power I deserve. Look, partner, I
Whoop.
said no.
Have no idea why I pushed that. Alright, either way, that is kind of what I wanted to set up.
That's pretty dastardly, if I do say so myself.
Alright, then we set up a few heroes seeking ballista.
Aiming for the head.
We can roll here, turn around, blast that.
And our heroes destroyed the unstable rift, and there was much rejoicing.
Alright, and here what we want to do is put a few regular ballista, and then cap off the end with a couple that will take care of bosses that might come out of the front there. Eventually we're going to go over and create a small kill box on the other side to aid us. Alright, and then we got this back, so let's go ahead and murder that boss really hard. I need to actually point out the fact that I think overall as far as burst damage goes, I don't think Ready Steady Fire is the highest single hit skill in the game, but it's probably going to rival, even just against a single target, the damage that Max can put out with ooh, let's get out of here. It's important to get out of the way when big things come out and start dealing a lot of damage to you. Deadeye does not have a huge amount of HP. Gotta keep her alive. But as I was saying, Ready Steady Fire doesn't deal as much damage to a single target, I believe, as Max's In Your Faces can do. Like, I've managed to hit enemies under the right circumstances for like upwards of 12,000 damage, but at the same time, the amount of damage it does, the ability to switch targets, and the fact that once you get its tier 4 Weaver, you can actually just pierce multiple enemies, makes it so that it is one of the highest damage potential skills in the game. You can deal a lot of damage to a lot of units really easily with it. And so I think Deadeye is probably going to turn into a sort of pseudo Ivy, the way Ivy used to be used in not in Chaos Trials, but in those did not pat down here as I would normally expect them to. That's interesting. Alright. So I think I'll be alright here. Those guys aren't pathing down here anymore. They're going right immediately. That's, I guess, good for the pathing. Bad for me, though. Alright.
Pillbox is shaping up real nice.
Okay, for the most part, that's okay.
That's pretty dastardly, if I do say so myself.
Question is, can I get back there and make sure that they die before I have anything to worry about? Looks like it. Alright, let's go finish off that right kill box, recap that, and I think we're good. What else do we have coming here? Okay. What I didn't do was set up bait caves, and I should have.
Unstable rift is opening. It must be destroyed.
Alright, there's a second unstable rift here. Shouldn't really be too big of a deal. Kind of place it off to the side so you really have to be in this room to shoot it.
Well done. The unstable rift has been destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Mighty fine day for a massacre.
Alright, I think that, along with this, should basically take care of everything. Still not sure about the uses for Bramble Barricade personally. I mean, just due to Deadeye squishiness, I'm probably not going to be a fan. In an area where you can't really set up some really good funnels, or, you know, time constraints don't allow you the time to set up anything particularly amazing feeling. You can always feel free to just take more misdeeds, which is pretty nice. Alright, this boss is... Well, I don't see him coming from here. That is a lot of damage.
Boss defeated.
Alright, boss murdered pretty easily. I guess the best place to actually take note of Deadeye's like damage potential and how good it is would probably be a Chaos Trial or Endless. So I guess once I run through Rift Lord, I'll probably test her out in those modes and see if I can get something recorded for it. Because I'm building up a decent stash of Chaos Keys. We're going to go clear them out anyway. Okay.
Line them up. Shoot them down.
Okay, so I can shoot through their shield to actually deal damage, which is good. Those little barking mongrels are loud. Little teacup gnolls. It's weird, their audio level seems to be a lot louder than anything else in the game. Whoa. Why were those guys spinning around like they got hit with a physics trap? Oh, because, yeah, they probably stepped on the floor scorchers. Got it. They have the weirdest physics animations. Never seem to sync right. Okay. 3 waves in about 3 minutes. Doable, but rough. Maybe doable.
Mind if I do?
Nope, that's a problem. Trap saved me from one of them. So I took the stun this time. Doesn't look like anything's actually going to survive the bouncing bomb. So stun might be a bit moot. Yeah, it's doing about 2 grand, which is really good for an ability that you can fire off every 9 seconds.
Gotcha in my sights.
Again, single target DPS on Deadeye is not the most amazing thing in the world, but it is absolutely good. She's like a DPS character that's great at everything, but not the best. But the problem is, or I should say, the good thing is that being great at everything and having like no real weaknesses other than low HP really doesn't make the character anywhere near bad. She's actually extremely good.
Got your name all over it.
An unstable rift is opening. Destroy it.
Okay.
Destroy the
I think my
unstable
trap choice here may wind up getting me killed. Or I should say, lose me to 5-star. We will see. We got a minute and a half to clear this wave. Don't think it's happening though. Alright, 50 seconds to finish the last wave. Don't think it's gonna happen.
A boss is on his way.
Alright, but at the very least,
The boss minion has entered the battle. The boss minion is down.
that's a lot of damage.
A boss is on its way.
Watch your feet.
The enemy's boss is down.
Alright,
Cold blood.
30 seconds to try to finish off the rest of this.
Boss
See what we got. Nope, we're gonna just miss par. But that's alright.
Sidewinder, win a piece.
Yeah, I'm sure if I'd have dropped some traps on the right side there, I'd have finished that a little bit quicker, and that would have turned into a 5-star. So, either way, oh. Nice. Another chaos key. Either way, Deadeye's DPS is just really, really solid. Orc aside. Ooh, can actually upgrade the summoner trap now. These already had more than enough. What does that go up to now? Rank 6. Don't get a slot, but it gets stronger. Don't have the skulls for it right now. That's fine. But either way, Deadeye really good at dealing damage in an area. You can see, like, I really didn't struggle with anything there other than just getting swarmed by that Pride Assassin for a bit. But out of the way, actually, since it had its added invulnerability frames, gives you a lot more tools to deal with enemies if you can micro well. You can even absorb some projectiles I've found by rolling through them. If I get the chance, I'll see about getting some footage of that. But either way, Deadeye is really good, and we're going to move on to the throne room next. I think she may actually shine there a bit more just due to the high volume of attacks that she has, making it so that the sturdy or steady shield that the soldiers get is not that big of a deal. But either way, we're still going to play against that and use fire traps, dots, and things like that to bring it down. It'll be interesting to see how that map works, since it looks like there's some behavior changes for some of the enemies, such as the firelings. They seem to attack barricades directly now, so we will see how that works. Either way, that'll be all for now. I sincerely appreciate you guys for watching, and as always, if you learned anything whatsoever, that's great. I sincerely appreciate it. You know, just you guys stopping by. If you want to leave a comment on the video, feel free to, and I will get back to you when I'm able. But other than that, have a good one, folks.